You don't wake up dreaming of McDonald's fries. You wake up dreaming of McDonald's hash browns. McDonald's breakfast comes first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
HBCU Legends fans, it's County Mosley of HBCU Legends on SI, and we are here to talk about this weekend, which was a great weekend in HBCU sports, especially for the basketball postseason, and also have some coaching moves to discuss with you as well. But first, before we even get into the nuts and bolts of what has happened in HBCU sports, go to HBCU Legends on all of our social media platforms. That's X, Instagram, as well as Facebook, and as well as go to our YouTube channel to be able to subscribe. So any of the stories there, connect with us. You can also connect with our newsletter, and that's online as well. So we'll have that in the link of the show a little bit later. Okay. All right. Let's talk about what has happened this weekend. I think this has been one of the best HBCU basketball postseasons in recent memory. When we talking about what has happened with the HBCU basketball teams and how they fared with most of the games across the board, I would like to just get a breakdown and talk to you about the Division I side, because that was a great showing by Norfolk State, the men's as well as the women, but also Southern University, Texas Southern, Howard, Compton. So let's run it down, okay? Let's start off with the women in Division I. So Norfolk State, which had the best season of all of HBCU basketball teams at 30-4 before losing to Maryland. The number 4 Terrapins were able to defeat the Spartans 82-69 in the first round of the NCAA tournament for women. So Diamond Johnson didn't have her best game in the second half. That first half, she was tearing it up, lighting it up with 16 points, because they went in a 2-point lead. I think it was 32-30 over Maryland. And it proved right then and there that HBCU teams have the talent, have the ability to be able to hang with Division I teams, especially a so-called powerhouse like Maryland, right? Which won, I think they went to the Final Four a couple of seasons ago or something to that nature. So then let's talk about what happened with the Lady Jaguars of Southern at 21-15. Of course, they're the SWAC representatives. They had to play that first 4 game where they defeated number 16 UC San Diego 68-56, and then they had to face the number 1 overall UCLA Bruins. Unfair. Well, they got into the tournament. They were able to defeat San Diego, the Tritons, and now they had to face a tough UCLA team. So they went down 84-46. But in that game, they did lead. In that game, they did tie. In that game, they did give them heck in that first half until UCLA ran away with it. Now, let's turn our attention to the WNIT, where 2 teams were able to host their very first WNIT tournament games. That was Texas Southern here in the Houston area. I was at the game. Texas Southern 17-15, led by Vernett Skeet. They were able to defeat the St. Mary's Gales, who were at 14-17, and they're led by a SWAC product. Coach Cammons came from Alcorn State, and he's now out on the West Coast. I asked him if he ever thought about coming home, coming back to the SWAC. He said, definitely not. Okay. So, but over in the Western Conference, that's where St. Mary's plays with like Loyola, Marymount, and those guys. So, but the Texas Southern ladies held on. They had a pretty significant lead in the game, held on to win 54-50. They're advancing to be able to face Louisiana Tech on Monday. Howard University. And then we'll turn our attention to DC because the 22-11 Bison, who represent the MEAC, it was their first time to be able to host a WNIT tournament game, and they took on Siena. And the Saints, they were giving it all they can that second half. The Saints came into the tournament at 17-14, but the Bison were able to defeat them 72-62, and they will now face the College of Charleston on Monday. So those two significant historic games where they hosted and they won their first WNIT tournaments games. Kudos to the Tigers as well as the Bison for winning. Now, we turn our attention to Coppin State. Still in the MEAC, they also played a WNIT game against Colgate. Now, Colgate was a heavy favorite in the game as well at 23-10, but the Eagles were able to defeat and upset Colgate 58-48, and they now take on the Cleveland State team, and that will be played on March 25th in the second round. Then we have to go to our team down in Alabama A&M with Dawn Thornton. Dawn Thornton and the Bulldogs they had one of the best seasons in SWAC, where they were 22-11. They had some big wins early on, some non-conference wins as well. And it wasn't until the late stretch in the SWAC they started losing a couple of games here and there that cut down their wins. But other than that, Dawn Thornton and the Bulldogs had a very challenging schedule, and they produced. But it was the Chattanooga Mocs who were 17-14, defeating the Bulldogs 53-49. North Carolina A&T at 19-12, they are out of the CAA. They went to the Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament, that's the WBIT, but the Aggies fell to Vatech, that's Virginia Tech, 19-12, and that's their record. But they fell 61-45 in the game. So the Aggies were not able to come out and win. So if we look at the women's postseason record as of March 23rd, there were 4 wins and 4 losses in the postseason for HBCU women's basketball. Congratulations. That's a positive mark for them, trending in the right direction. If Texas Southern, they have a tough game against Louisiana Tech, Howard probably has a better chance against College of Charleston. I'm not going to predict that Texas Southern is going to lose, but Louisiana Tech is a heavy favorite. I'm just going to leave it like that. And hopefully those two teams can be able to find a way to advance, as well as Coppin State, who takes on Cleveland State, and let's see how the Eagles are able to fare as well. So now let's turn our attention to the men. Of course, Alabama State had that last-second buzzer-beating heroics against St. Francis. So Alabama State, the Hornets were 20-16 on the season. They took on St. Francis, which was 16-18. It was a great win, a buzzer-beating win. When Simpson threw that pass down to, was it Knox, right? To be able to get it. And I think it tipped out of the hands of TJ Matlock into Knox, and he scored the layup, won the game 70-68. Now, but the Hornets had to face number 1 Auburn. Tough task. Auburn at 29-5 at that time. They have won a subsequent game since, so they're 30-5. Now, Auburn, they really were feeling it against Alabama State early on. Alabama State had a chance at one point to tie the game, and I believe Knox went to the free throw line to shoot 2, and he missed them both, and that was in the first half. And when they came out of second half, Bruce Pearl had his Tigers team ready and roaring, and they roared away and expanded their lead to win 83-63. Norfolk State. Coach Robert Jones had a great message for people to let them know that this Norfolk State team should not have been at number 16. Let's say it again. Norfolk State should not have been at number 16 in this 2025 NCAA tournament. The Spartans had to face number 1 Florida, which is a bugaboo, to be able to face the Gators at 31-4 at that time. Now they're 32-4. But they lost 95-69. Now, a lot of people say, hey, 26 points, you guys lost the game. You were right where you were. Now, there were other teams that lost to number 1s and number 2s that had more significant deficits. So, was it a lack of respect that the Spartans received from the NCAA? I think that's a fair assessment. Well, let's turn our attention to how we can be able to improve it. Improve your schedules. Improve your competition. Improve when you have these non-conference games, just like Norfolk has. They beat High Point at High Point. A top 100 team should that have not been a part of the equation to decide where Norfolk stood? I think it should have been. Norfolk is a great program. Robert Jones, we'll talk about coaches on the move, but hey, they fell. Now the HBCU men's postseason record is at 1 win and 2 losses. The men plus the women altogether, 5 wins, 6 losses. Typically, sometimes, guys, at the end of the postseason, there are no wins coming out those first 4 games or whatever. I know Johnny Jones and his team were able to have a couple of first 4 play-in wins when Texas Southern represented the SWAC. I think Norfolk was able to have a win in a play-in as well over the past several years. So what's going to happen going forward? We'll talk about it a little bit later. But right now, I just have to say congratulations. It was one of the best seasons that we have seen in, like I said, in recent years in HBCU basketball. I think we should be very happy what has gone on. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk about some coaches on the move. All right, guys, Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends, one of my favorite fantasy apps is Underdog Fantasy. And you got to be able to grab your phone as well as your dancing shoes in this March Madness to be able to go ahead and use Underdog as one of your favorite sports apps. But you can be able to play it today and play it in your state. If you want to win up to $1,000, 1,000 times your money, do it with Underdog. I usually do it, especially when the HBCUs were playing. I was picking my favorite Alabama State as well as my favorite Southern University team to be able to players to be able to do higher or lower on their points scored. And you can also use it on assists, rebounds, and more. But the thing that I like about Underdog is that it's already proven where millions of fans have already won billions of dollars making plays on Underdog. This app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players across the world. So download the Underdog app today. Sign up using the promo code HBCU Legends, or you could be able to use the HBCU Legends to unlock a special offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. So join in on the fun when you use Underdog app. Sign up with the promo code of HBCU Legends. That's HBCU LEGENDS. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly. Now, you must be 18 years or older to be able to play, 19 years or older in Alabama, as well as Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Massachusetts, as well as Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Void where prohibited. Terms apply. Concerned about your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org in Arizona. 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. Guys, it's March Madness. It's fun to be able to play your pick'ems. And remember this, the playoffs for the NBA is coming up as well. So sign up today, make your deposit with Underdog here using the promo code HBCU Legends to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits and a free tick. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, download the app today. Okay, guys, Coyote Mosley back here to talk a little bit about some significant moves that just occurred in the HBCU ranks for coaches. So Kobe Simmons of HBCU Game Day asked Coach Larry Vickers of North Fork State women's basketball what's next for him. It was a not well-kept rumor that Auburn had extended an offer to Coach Vickers to be able to take over the Tigers program. Now, let me take you back during the season. Norfolk State made a trip to Auburn this year. Norfolk State defeated Auburn in Auburn, Alabama. And they did it convincingly. Larry Vickers has had a very great tenure, not only as a player, not only as an assistant coach, but when they took the interim tag from him, when they had need to find a coach or someone to be able to take over this program, and he's done it very well. With 177 career wins, 4 MEAC regular season titles, 3 MEAC tournament championships, a number 4 ranking as a mid-major, a 70.2% MEAC winning percentage. Get this, a 70.2 MEAC winning percentage. And he won the MEAC Coach of the Year honors 3 times. So congratulations to Coach Vickers. He is now the new head basketball coach of the Auburn's women's basketball team, and he's taken over that program. He's done an excellent job. 18 years of coaching experience, as well as he spent 8 years as the men's assistant, as well as the associate head coach for the Spartans for some time. His actual record with the Spartans ladies is 177-99, including an 83-18 mark over the past 3 seasons. Wow. He's able to coach one young lady who has a chance. Really, 2 young ladies may have a chance. That's Diamond Johnson. She may have a chance to go to the NBA and WNBA and be able to make a mark there. The 2-time MEAC Player of the Year, that's Diamond Johnson, and Kiera Wheeler, their forward, who has a beautiful touch underneath the basket, and she plays with that fierceness and tenacity that you'd like to see from a post player. She has another year of eligibility. With the situation at Norfolk being unsettled, could she go and follow her coach to Auburn? We'll see. So he's produced some great talent. So congratulations to Coach Vickers, taking his talent and his skill and making over twice as what he's made for the Spartans. They project his salary to be over $500,000 his first season in Auburn. Congratulations to him. Now, let's turn our attention to a high-profile position that when Eddie George left Tennessee State, people didn't know what to expect. There were some rumors on Thursday that Jeff Fisher was going to be the one to come in and take over that position at Tennessee State. Hold on, not so fast. Reggie Barlow is now the new Tennessee State Tigers head football coach. Congratulations to Reggie Barlow. But it's perplexing because Reggie Barlow was supposed to be the head football coach of the DC Defenders, which kicks off their season this week. So, wow. Reggie Barlow is now the new head football coach of the Tennessee State team. Barlow was named officially, but there were rumblings about Barlow over the past weekend. I had a couple of sources to tell me yes, especially people from Alabama State who knew Reggie Barlow was making that move to Tennessee. So he's going to be Tennessee State. So he's going to be in Nashville with the Tigers, taking over that program. If you guys didn't know, he was an XFL and UFL coach, but in 2023, he was the XFL Coach of the Year when the DC Defenders were 9-1. But Barlow has a HBCU pedigree, coming out of Alabama State as a player. He was an excellent punt returner as well as wide receiver. He went on to the National Football League. He played with Jacksonville when they selected him as the 110th overall pick in the 4th round of the 1996 NFL draft. But his career spanned not only from Jacksonville to Oakland as well as Tampa Bay. But it was in Tampa Bay where he won his Super Bowl ring. I think it was Super Bowl 37 with the Buccaneers at that time. Barlow was their punt return specialist, as well as he was the backup wide receiver. So he made contributions. Barlow also was an alternate for the Pro Bowl when he was in the National Football League as well. So he has a great pedigree. We forget he also helped turn around Alabama State when he first took over his alma mater. He left there with a 49-42 record. He coached 8 seasons for the Hornets football program. Then he went over to Virginia State in the CIAA, and he coached them to a 34-16 record, as well as he was able to gain an NCAA Division II playoff berth in 2017 with the Trojans, when his team was undefeated at that time at 10-0, and they also had a 7-0 record in the CIAA. But they lost in that first round, so they had a 10-1 overall record at the end of the season. He was able to win the 2017 CIAA Coach of the Year. The Trojans were a very good team. Barlow has a very great record in turnaround programs. Look what he did when he first came into the new XFL league that was rebooted by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I think Tennessee State has to kind of approach this as they have probably right man who has a great mix of NFL, other pro league experience. He understands how to build programs, turn around programs. But Barlow is not flashy. He's not shy with media either. He will have great interviews with you. I was able to have an interview with him once. He also, it's kind of strange because we agreed to have an interview this week before all of this came down. So hopefully we can be able to have that interview still for you guys to talk one-on-one with now Tigers head coach Reggie Barlow. Good move, good move. Now, Central State, they named NFL veteran Tony Carter as their new head football coach. Carter was a defensive back during his days in the National Football League, as well as a reserve guy, and he also was on a couple of practice squads. I remember him being on the Saints practice squad at one time. So Carter comes in with NFL background, another NFL guy taking over a program. So if we're looking at how these coaches, the new coaches, and let's just talk about the new coaches coming into the league. We got Tony Carter now. Well, we got Reggie Barlow. He has NFL experience. We got Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson. Who else do we have? We have Terrell Buckley. He came in to Mississippi Valley State. And we have the coach from Miles. We got Sam Shade. Well, Sam Shade was already in HBCU. He was over at Miles before taking the Alabama A&M spot. But we have coaches with a great NFL background coming into the league. Now, there's been some contention. There are some coaches who have been through the trials and tribulations, who have labored to be able to get to this point in HBCUs. They did not give them the opportunity to elevate to the next level to get the head coaching positions. We could talk a lot about what is necessary from that standpoint. Right now, you got to say, hey, these guys are primed and ready. Can they be primed and ready to be able to take on the challenges of HBCU football? It's going to be very competitive this year. I can tell you that much, especially in the Southwestern Athletic Conference as well as the MEAC. The MEAC, don't believe one bit that Chennis Berry, last year's Coach of the Year, who took the South Carolina State Bulldogs to the Celebration Bowl as the
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
BCIC representative will go away quietly. Don't think Trey Oliver, just because Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson have arrived, they're just going to go away quietly. Don't think Damon Wilson and the Morgan State Bears, which started to trend in a positive direction under his leadership this past season, that they will go away quietly. These teams have the opportunity to have some very contentious and some very great battles toward the end of the season. 6 teams in the MEAC are going to be battling for that title. Now, when you turn your attention to the SWAC, it's going to be wacky, especially in the wacky west of the SWAC. When we have Tremaine Jackson, who took over for Prairie View after running a very great program over at Valdosta State. He's now the Prairie View leader. Been having some very intense practices. Of course, you got Chris Dishman, who wants to prove in his second season that it wasn't a fluke, that the Tigers of Texas Southern just won 5 games, but they could have won at least 7 or 8, especially if they had their quarterback, Mr. Cooper, who he got injured in that first game against Prairie View. That was the upset at Prairie View. People didn't see that coming, but he's fully recovered, and we'll see how he's able to affect the SWAC being healthy. Then, of course, you have the national champions, T.C. Taylor. They're not going away quietly. The national champs? No, not especially not of Jackson State. T.C. Taylor pretty much is going to have some of his same significant players. He does lose Irv Mulligan. He does lose Rob McDaniel on defense, as well as a couple other guys. But T.C. Taylor has always and keeps on bringing in some great talent. Sam Shade over at Alabama A&M. They have recruited some great talent. Coach Cozy down at Florida A&M has recruited great talent. It still will be competitive in both divisions, East and West. Alabama State, what's going to happen with that quarterback situation? Will Andrew Body be healthy enough? Well, I can tell you from sources that Andrew, he just pledged Kappa for the Alabama State line there. So Andrew is still on the mend. What do you mean, Kyle? Well, I'm glad you asked. He's still on the mend, where he's still rehabbing that shoulder. He possibly will be in a position to start more physical activity later, but right now, Andrew, he's still on target. And from what I heard, the doctors feel he is ahead of expectations. Okay, this past weekend also, guys, not HBCUs, but he did love sports and did love HBCUs and helping out in that area. Boxing legend, as well as gold medalist and the heavyweight champ, George Foreman, passed away at the age of 76. Houston native, well, not Houston native, he is a native of Marshall, Texas, but he resided in the 5th Ward of Houston. If you guys know the 5th Ward, you've got to know the Ghetto Boys, right? You got to know how DJ Screw and those guys really impacted that area as well. So George Foreman turned his life around after the Rumble in the Jungle with Ali, came back to boxing years after retirement, after being a pastor, reclaimed the heavyweight title after defeating and knocking out Michael Moore. I still remember that fight, man. I was jumping around my house. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy for George, and he was quite the legendary figure here in the Houston area, especially. You would see him at sporting events all the time, whether it was the Astros, the Rockets, the Texans. It didn't matter. George was there, and praying for the family, praying for their peace, but knowing that the legendary George Foreman, he passed away at the age of 76, surrounded by his family. Foreman had a impressive record of 72-4. Wow. Think about that. 72 fights. Whew, that's a lot. 72-4 for the legend George Foreman. If you have a chance, watch the big George Foreman movie that he and his family produced and was debuted in 2023. Several marriages. Last one to Mary Joan Martelly of St. Lucia. Beautiful lady. They had 2 daughters together, but he also had collectively 12 children, 7 daughters, 5 sons. Unfortunately, one of the daughters, Frida, he lost in 2019. She was an aspiring boxer herself. Didn't quite work out the way she wanted, but Frida, I know Georgetta, I was able to go to the wedding of Georgetta years ago, but praying for the Foreman family. We'll be back in a few minutes. Guys, don't forget, you can check out HBCU Legends online at hbculegends.net. You can go to all of our social media platforms on X, Facebook, Instagram, as well as on YouTube. Please support. We are a part of Black media. We want you to be able to understand how the getting the subscriptions, getting the following, getting you guys engaged is very important for our brand, but also to be able to grow and be able to deliver high quality content to you guys. We have interviewed Hall of Famers here with like Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, NFL players, coaches, aspiring players. You know, we have done it all from this platform at HBCU Legends, which we are partners with on SI, which is a part of the Sports Illustrated family. So when people look at HBCU Legends, they say to me, "Oh, you guys are Sports Illustrated." No, we're on SI, a part of Sports Illustrated, but I'm a partner, not owned by. I own HBCU Legends. So that's why it's very important to help so we can be able to branch out, expand, hire new writers, give you guys some more great content and featured items that you can be able to read, and the videos you can be able to see from our interviews. So please support us, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, guys, it's Coyote Mosley of HBCU Legends. Don't forget, go and download the Underdog Fantasy app today. You'll be able to win up to $1,000 of your money making your first deposit. If you download the app today, you sign up, Use the promo code HBCU Legends to unlock a special offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. But you have to make that first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up and use the promo code HBCU Legends. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon your first deposit. If you're having problems with gambling, you have to be over 18 years older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 older in Colorado for some games, and 21 or older in Massachusetts as well as Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Void where prohibited. Terms apply. Concerned about your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783, or text Next Step to 533-342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. It's very important that you sign up today, make your first deposit at the Underdog app, and you have to use the promo code HBCU Legends to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits, and you get a free pick as well. I forgot about that. But you go to underdogfantasy.com, get a chance to download that app, and you can get started in the Sweet 16 for March Madness. We'll be back. Okay, this past weekend, the Black College Invitational Championships games, they went down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we have surprising outcomes. And the first surprising outcome was Clark Atlanta in the women's side, where they were really running away with it at the end of the first half. They were leading 32-23 over the Golden Bulls. But it's that fourth quarter, and the Golden Bulls never stopped believing in themselves. I think it was interim coach, what's her name, Tasha Smith. They never stopped believing. They kept fighting. They battled their way back, but it was Conshona Brown who came off the bench in the final quarter to help lead the Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls to a 65-59 victory over Clark Atlanta. So I apologize. It's interim head coach Tyesha Murphy for the Golden Bulls. They were able to secure the inaugural Black College Invitational Women's Championship title, which took place over at Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina. Look, they trailed as much as 18 points in the first half to the Panthers. To make that gritty comeback and to be able to win the way they did, that was huge. And congratulations to them. They just played hard. They kept believing. And when Brown, who had 4 fouls, she came back in the game around the fourth quarter. She did an old-fashioned three-point play, and it was just something that was very pivotal that kind of swung the pendulum back in the favor of the Bulldogs, and they never looked back. They kept the pressure on the Panthers, who could not make a three-point shot for some reason. That was just the weirdest thing, how they could not make a three-point shot. They were 0 for 10 for the whole game. But Clark Atlanta there's no way you should hold your head down, because Miss Evans, I think she had 17 points. She was the forward. She had a double-double, 17 points and 11 rebounds. Their freshman phenom, Trania Gardner, She had 12 points at halftime, but they slowed her down that second half, and she only had 16 for the whole game. So kudos to Johnson C. Smith for winning and capturing the first BCIC Women's Basketball Championship trophy. All right, and on the men's side, that was also a upset, so to speak, because Vi Union, they were the favorites. And Vi Union, at halftime again, they were winning. They were up by 11 points over Claflin. But Claflin outscored Virginia Union 37-22 in the second half to win 64-54 at the BCIC Men's Championship. That was a great game to see. It was Panther on Panther crime. The Panthers of Claflin over the Panthers of Vi Union. Vi Union, good season. They just couldn't sustain the offensive pressure that Claflin kept putting on them. But Claflin also clamped down on the Vi Union Panthers. And it was John Whitehead III. He had 13 points and 5 rebounds. And Gregory Spurlock had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists to help them. That was the Panthers of Clark Atlanta's guys. But it was Claflin's guard, Jalen Williams. That's who it was. I apologize. Who had a game high of 19 points. He went 5 of 13 from the field, 7 for 7 from the free throw line, which was critical. A lot of times people, that's a free shot, guys. That's a free shot. Nobody's around you. You got to concentrate and get that down. My old coach would tell us, hey, you can't hit a free throw. You need to sit on the bench. So he also had 3 steals and 2 rebounds and a pair of assists. So kudos to Jalen Williams, John Whitehead, as well as Gregory Spurlock to be able to help secure the championship for the Claflin Panthers. Okay? Let's talk a little bit about some other goings and comings there in the Texas Southern baseball team. And it could have been a scary situation, but it turned out to be a positive situation all in all. The baseball team was headed up to Grambling, Louisiana to be able to play a 3-game series with Grambling. They struck some road debris, caused significant damage to their chartered bus. Vice President of Athletics Kevin Granger told us that no one was injured in the incident. They were able to send another bus to be able to pick up the team and travel them to the hotel. So there were no injuries of players. There was some fake news out there saying it was the basketball team for the women's that were injured. No, it wasn't. So it was just the baseball team. So they played over at Wilbert Ellis Field in Grambling. So good thing that nothing happened there that was significant. Let's see. Also, there was another coaching move that we forgot to talk about. Former Alcorn State head coach Landon Bussey, he's now the new head man over at Chicago State University. And Coach Bussey was a former SWAC Coach of the Year. He was a good coach. He helped turn around the Alcorn State program. Very talented players that he's able to produce, several all-conference players that also got national recognition under his leadership. So congratulations to Coach Bussey, who came out as an assistant coach from the Prairie View A&M system, before taking over at Alcorn State. So he's very excited to be able to get this new job, and proud of him to be able to move on to that next level, guys. So if we look at HBCU basketball and the coaching moves, as well as the talent, as well as what's been happening, all in all, I think it's great. Again, I have to reiterate this one point. This has been one of the best HBCU basketball postseasons that we have ever had. And the coaching moves to elevate some of these coaches has been very good as well. Now, I told you earlier, we'll talk a little bit about Robert Jones. Robert Jones, in my opinion, I know last season he did have an interview with a team, I believe it was in Illinois somewhere. And I had a chance to speak to the VP of athletics at that time for that program. They did have a conversation. It was a positive conversation, but they went a different direction. Robert Jones will have his pick, I believe. It wouldn't surprise me if he did leave and go and start a new position somewhere. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm saying it would not surprise me if it did happen. He's a talented coach. He's done wonders with that North Fork State Spartans program. He too may have a chance to elevate his profile. Now, a lot of people say, hey, Kyle, we don't like when you use that word elevate to profile, meaning HBCUs can't do it. Well, we're not saying that. What we're saying is this. Just like when Coach Prime left and Coach Reed, she left Jackson State to go to UNC Charlotte. Sometimes it takes coaching moves to get HBCUs to understand either you put the resources in or you're going to get people leaving out. Eddie George left Tennessee State, which is under financial straits right now. That's why it was kind of shocking that Coach Barlow did leave to go back to the HBCUs, but he must know something we don't. Eddie George, he left to go to Bowling Green, made the vacancy for Barlow to come in and take over at Tennessee State. Resources have to be a part of the main concern, because whether you like it or not, when it comes to athletics, that's the multi-million-dollar moneymakers for teams. Our teams having enough efforts or putting in the efforts to market what happens to their sports teams. Like this postseason. It's not a knock on Texas Southern, in my opinion, but it has you wondering. It's not a knock on Howard, but it has you wondering. Why wasn't Burr over at Howard packed? They were hosting a WNIT game. You got to see extended basketball. Why wasn't it packed? Why wasn't HBCU Arena in Houston, Texas packed? Only 573 spectators were in HNPE Arena, I should say, in Houston, Texas, to watch the Tigers win. Guys, it's not a knock. We got to stop taking offense all the time. How can we improve? How can we elevate our brands? How can we market our brands? What was the major push to be able to say, hey, let's get more fans, alumni in the seats to support these young ladies, which had an excellent year? They should have been there. That's just my opinion. The atmosphere was good. It was a good, contentious game, very competitive game. Fans should have been there. Where were the other athletes? We saw some of the basketball players from the men's squad, but where were the other athletes? Why didn't we see more of like the football players? Why didn't we see some of the other teams? I know the baseball team was having a game, I believe. Softball was on the road as well. But these are the things that cause people to say, like also Arsenio Hall used to say, makes you go, Well, all right. Enough of that. So congratulations to Prairie View A&M's bowling team. They were able to win the SWAC. North Carolina A&T's bowling team were able to win the MEAC. And those are both women's programs, so there's no men's bowling. So congratulations to those teams. Congratulations for being able to win. And congratulations to everybody in HBCU sports right now. So before we get off here, we have a real life love and basketball situation where Amar Knox as well as Miss Sanders from Southern University, they got engaged on Valentine's this year. They used to date over at Alabama State before she became a graduate transfer from Alabama State to Southern University. The Kaya Sanders, they're engaged. So that was a good thing to see, especially the success that Amar Knox as well as Southern University both had in the first four of their respective games. So congratulations to them. Look forward to their nuptials, and I wish them to be very blessed, bountiful, beautiful, healthy, and have a great relationship together. All right, and there was a not so great incident that occurred last weekend where the SWAC had to suspend Jackson State as well as Prairie View A&M baseball players. 9 players altogether were suspended as a result of an on-field altercation between the Jackson State and Prairie View players. Jackson State player took offense of the walk-off win that Prairie View had. I think the Panthers were able to defeat the Tigers 77-6, and it was based on the infielder Trenton Bush, who had the walk-off double at the bottom of the 11th inning. Hopefully we learn, guys. We got to have better sportsmanship across the board. If we don't, we're going to keep on having these situations. You saw it in the NCAA tournament where I think it was Virginia versus another program where they had to send the teams directly to the locker room, no handshakes whatsoever. Not a good look. Sportsmanship counts these days. Not a good look. All right, guys. We're signing off. Go to HBCU Legends. Sign up for our HBCU Legends newsletter. And you can also be able to subscribe to me at KTMOZE on X, Facebook, as well as IG, and HBCU Legends on those social media platforms. And don't forget, also, we're building the Black Sports Insiders program, where we do a lot of our streaming content from all different type of sports settings, from NFL to NBA to WNBA. It doesn't matter. Just go ahead and support. All right. I'm Kyle T. Mosley, HBCU Legends. Don't forget, also download
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.